Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's time again for the unfiltered news from the reality zone where political correctness is not spoken here. And it's compiled by no other than G. Edward Griffin and his editor and scout hunters and photo and humor scouts. Wow. It's just Cassandra Anderson, and photo and humor scout is Joan Glover, and proofreader is Tom Parker. You can blame him if anything is misspelled or out of place. You can blame Joanne Glover. Anyways, proofreader Tom Parker. Anyways, let's get to it. January 4th through the 10th, 2014. This is the stuff that you have to look at in this. These stars indicates articles worth printing and keeping. You can see the entire collection here. The asterisk indicates amazing events or phenomenon. See the entire collection here. You got the camera. If you see that, it's a video or slideshow. And the speaker indicates audio. I haven't really seen any audios yet in here, but I've seen the rest of them. So let's get down to the comic strip for this week. Comic strip. What am I doing? I'm showering 36 inches of global warming. I love it. Covering 36 inches of global warming. I love that. Oh, God. You just got to take a look at that for a moment and just think about it and go, yeah, they're lying to us. It's a scam. It's a carbon tax scam to take money from your pocket and put it in theirs. Let's get to the articles for this week, or the stories that you may have missed. And I'll have a link to this at the bottom of the video under See More, and you'll be able to read these articles and watch the videos. Okay, here we go. Video. 2 former U.S. Air Force officers who had authority to launch nuclear weapons are being investigated for drug use. This was not the first problem with them. One of them was fired several months ago for extreme intoxication in Moscow. Of all places. It wasn't here in the U.S., but when I first read that, I thought, oh no, it's somebody in the U.S. No, it was Moscow. They have a vodka problem over there anyways. ABC News, January 10th. Okay, video. Name tag, a new facial recognition phone app, will allow users to snap photos of strangers or obtain them on social network sites and in a few seconds learn all about them. The system will pull up name, address, phone numbers, other photos, social media profile, and criminal record, if any. Critics say it's a stalker's dream come true. Yeah, trolls will love it too. Fox, January 9th. Amazing they're allowing something like that to be out there. Here's one of those articles to keep for future reference. Star, a video. White House science advisor John Holdren, Dr. John Holdren, adds his voice to other global warmists by assuring us that the colder weather in North America is the result of warmer weather in the Arctic. In other words, let's defy the principles of thermodynamics, the second principle. He sounds like he knows what he is talking about, and the graphics are impressive. But remember that this is the man who in 1986 predicted the rising carbon dioxide levels would cause global cooling and kill 1 billion people by 2020. Infowars, January 9th. Yeah, I mean, he's turned physics upside down. He turned it on its head. And I don't think he'll ever get a job in a university. He'll probably lose his job if he still has one in a university, because no one's going to believe anything he says since he came out here with this fluent lie. I mean, it's a lie. You're not thinking of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics says that don't happen. U.S. A new Gallup poll reveals that a record high 42% of Americans now identify themselves as independent. That's right, 42% of Americans have went from the Democrats and the Republicans into independents. That means we gotta have a third party in there, and the third party's gotta win, because the other two are the same corrupt bird with a blue wing and a red wing, and you know how that is. 31% identify as Democrats, and only 25% identify as Republicans. That's because the Republicans stabbed Ron Paul in the back and everybody jumped ship that was on the Republican side. They realized the Republicans were trying to stick you with somebody you didn't want. Most of the independents still think they have to choose between the Democrat and Republican parties at election time, but these numbers show that the old political foundations are shifting. Gallup poll, January 8th. Yep, there you go. Proof's in the pudding. Anyways, Oklahoma. Legislators are considering a bill to nullify all EPA rules unless they specifically are authorized by Congress or adopted by the Oklahoma legislature. Ben Swan, January 8th. And that's true. The EPA is one of these collectivist helpers. They help to take your property away because, oh, for some reason, you know, you have something on your property that is endangered and you can't do nothing to your property. You own 100 acres and you can't do nothing with it because they found a bug or something on there that is the only bug in the world or something, and they'll take away your property for that. Yes, they will. They've done it in Texas and other places. They've just taken the property, and then several years later, they developed the property and put houses on it. Anyways, oh, I love the Bill Hicks laugh and the look. It just, oh, great. Anyways, next video. Los Angeles County Sheriff Leroy Baca is retiring following a series of scandals involving police brutality and interfering in an FBI investigation of the department. Baca is suspected of having stolen money from drug seizure raids. Really, see? They're skimming off the money they raid and confiscate. In 2009, he stopped the practice. Now, this is back in 2009, was it now? 2014, he stopped the practice of immediately counting the money at the scene of the bust. So there is no record until after it has been handled by Baca himself. Full Disclosure Network, January 8th. In other words, it gets to him. He says, well, we don't have to count it at the scene anymore. And he goes through the money and goes, I think I can take 10% of this and put it in my pocket. Oh, yeah. Say it's 10% of like $100,000, $1 million. Hey, he just 10% of that's in his pocket or more. Depending, you know, he could take 50% of it. Nothing to stop that. If there's no accounting for it at the scene. I mean, really, this guy is really a crook. He's a crook. He just proved it. Now he's in trouble for it. He got caught. Karma does catch up to you in a lifetime. Yes. Global warmists are claiming that the recent cold spell is caused by global warming. They say that warm winds are pushing the Arctic air southward. If cold air were pushing tropical air northward, they would, of course, claim global warming was the cause of that also. Anything that can be theorized as caused by warming, if one is a scientist hired by politicians who long for carbon taxes. Forbes, January 8th. It's not only that they long for the carbon tax, that's how they get their money. They come up with a problem and they make it as worse as they can. I mean, they don't get funded unless it's a problem. It's like it's dire to the planet or something. And then they get all this money funded to them. So these scientists are going to come up with this stuff if they're crooked. And these are crooked scientists. While the honest scientists, like in the global swindle, you know, the global warming swindle, actually came forward and said, yeah, these scientists are being paid off because they're going to lose funding if they don't come up or go along with the party line. And they're going to lose their funding. And then how are they going to make money? How are they going to live? They have to come up with something drastic to get money. And if the government says, hey, we can use this for our advantage and make a tax out of it, or Al Gore can make a tax out of it through the carbon tax exchanges in Chicago. Well, Al Gore was broke when he lost the election back when. Now he's worth over $100 million. And he got it from this global warming scam, Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to really call it. Chicago, here we go in Chicago. A federal judge says Chicago gun control law is unconstitutional. The law prevents citizens from owning, buying, or even having guns within city limits. Fox, January 7th. Well, yes, and it's unconstitutional. You are allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to stand your ground. If somebody's coming up to you with a baseball bat, what are you going to do? Let them hit you with the baseball bat? That's what the government believes. You should just roll over on with your belly up and say, go for it. That's what they believe. They're a bunch of crazies, I'm telling you. Crazies running the government. And governments in the states. They need medical help, really. Seek medical help, government. Okay, video. Regina Dugan, former director of the DARPA program at the U.S. Department of Defense and current executive at Motorola, owned by Google, says her company is developing microchip pills. Yeah, pop these pills of microchips. Tasty. The pills will transmit a unique signal that identifies you and can be used to access cell phones, cars, doors, and other devices. Google also is developing a tattoo that can read the user's mind by detecting unvocalized words in the throat. InfoWars, January 7th. Yeah, I've seen it. Actually it looks like a Band-Aid type thing. It's kind of transparent and it's got microchip yellow coloring on it. And you just paste it on your right arm or something to power it. And it will do all this stuff. It's not really a permanent tattoo, I don't think, or at least not yet. I mean, I'm waiting for them to do genetic engineering where they have something like in time, where you have a barcode or you have a number list on you, and if you don't work and that time runs out, your heart stops. I see that actually as something in the future for controlling the human race. And if you're not doing anything to make money and get that thing charged back up, when that time runs out, you drop dead right there on the spot. I can see that happening. I can actually see that. And that movie really freaked me out because I saw that and I go, God, this is the elitist dream of corporations, is get everybody with this timer on them. And when the timer runs out, you die. I mean, it's just wrong, isn't it? It should be. Anyways, it's just wrong. That's the mark of the beast, I would say, for sure. Geoengineering, the next article. Scientists continue to advocate spraying sulfur dioxide and other chemicals into the stratosphere to combat global warming by blocking the sun. A new study suggests that this could cause unintended side effects such as reducing rainfall in the tropics by 30% and causing widespread droughts in Africa. BBC reported this January 7th. And we have to remember, Australia is going through an extremely dry period in the hinterlands of that continent, which they've always been dry, but they've been hotter and drier than normal. Could it be that spraying in the North America and Europe areas with all these chemtrails is causing that? Down there along the equator, which Australia does fall along the equator, along as well as Africa. I mean, really. I mean, you got to think about this stuff. Guys arguing with me saying, oh, they just put ethanol in the fuel of the jets and they put more in there and that's why it makes the chemtrails in the sky. I'm going, no, they're adding chemicals in there. And I have proof of that. I have proof of a guy who worked at the airport who said he was inside there. He had to fix the honey dip thing, and he went, he went in there. He was the only person on the time. It was a late night flight, and it came in to something wrong with the toilet system. He was the only maintenance guy there. The honey dip people weren't there to fix the toilet system, so he was sent in there to check it out and see what's wrong with it. Well, he went up there and found these extra tanks, found this altimeter in there. He said it was a black box, apparently an altimeter, and he said he traced the lines coming out of these tanks because they had nothing to do with the sewage system on the aircraft, the toilet system. It was right there where the toilet system was. He traced the lines out. He saw where they were going, went out and looked on the wingtips, and the static arresters on the backside of the wings, they put these static arresters to bleed off static electricity as it flies through the air. had holes, little tiny holes in there, nozzles basically, and that's where all this stuff was spraying out of. When it got to a certain altitude and a certain place, it would kick on and start spraying these chemtrails. This is about 10 years ago that this came out, and that's what's happening with that. And these guys tell me it's ethanol in the fuel, and I'm sitting there going, no, you just haven't done enough deeper research. You're just going by whatever scientists and government, white coat and stethoscope people are telling you, and they're not qualified because they're taught by somebody who's telling them what to say, and then you're believing what they're saying, and you're saying, well, you're disagreeing with whatever the conspiracists are saying. And I go, no, really? Then who is being lied to? Are we both being lied to? Apparently, I'll go with that. Okay, we're both being lied to. You're being lied to, and I'm being lied to, because I don't accept the damn word that you say about this. But I'm not going to accept totally what I say. But I did the research and came up with the paperwork, and I don't know. I got the evidence. I mean, I got observation too, and they kind of question me because I can observate and say that. Well, you don't have, documentation or anything. Well, I got two eyes and ears or whatever, and I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm seeing something I did not see before 1990s. Before 1990s, the jets flew by. They left a contrail that went away within a minute. It was evaporated. And that's JP4. I don't know what they're talking about. They're putting more ethanol in the gas, and I told them I had to do more research on that. But it's JP4. Same thing that the military uses in their jets. It's a high-grade kerosene is what it is. I don't think they're putting anything like ethanol in there. If they're putting ethanol in there, that's going to break down the engines faster. I guess they'll have to replace more engines more often. See what it does to cars with all the piping and everything. It just corrodes everything. That's why you have to have a brand new car whose system is made to handle 15% ethanol in the gasoline. Because if you put 15% ethanol or 10% ethanol in your car, eventually it's going to eat through all your hoses and everything that carry the gas. If you have any rubber hoses or anything, it will dry them out and they'll crack in the brake, and next thing you know, you have a engine fire while you're driving down the road. Remember, if you ever driving down the highway and you're on vacation or whatever, and you're driving long distance, you suddenly get this hit of petrol in your face, the smell of gasoline, real strong all of a sudden, you got about 15 seconds to pull that car over and run away from it, because it's going to blow any moment. A lady back in the 80s had that. Her husband was killed. He was a race car driver, and he was killed in a race car accident or whatever, and he told her that. And she was driving one time in her car and had that petrol smell come shooting up into her face from the engine bay. And she pulled over, and she said she got out and ran away from the car, and within 15 seconds, pa-boom, the car went up. Yes, it does happen. Anywho, time for the next article. Video. Manhattan's district attorney has charged over 100 retired police officers and firemen for lying about injuries and disabilities in the largest Social Security scam of all time. Although some claims were made for 9/11 injuries, the scam began more than 50 years ago. Many retirees have been collecting over $50,000 a year. Must be nice. Not doing anything. Suspects incriminated themselves on Facebook. See? NSA watches Facebook. You're going to get in trouble if you say anything on it. Fox, January 7th. Another article to keep for future reference. And I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, so I'm going to say it's McHoken, or McJochen. Maybe it's J with the H in there. It's Mexican. McHoken or Mexico, Mexico. 500 armed vigilantes took over the town and arrested the federal police who failed to protect them from the local drug cartel. The police are accused of being in business with the drug dealers. Of course, they're getting kickbacks. Why not? And the people got pissed off at it and arrested them all. And did citizen arrest, basically, and now they've kicked all the drug dealers out of their town. Don't you know? Daily Mail, January 6th. That's how that happens. Here we go with Israel. Israel pressures African migrants to return to Africa and block further immigration. Migrants, or actually migrants return to Africa and block further migration. Migrants are required to live in detention centers, and obtaining work visas has become nearly impossible. An estimated 20,000 Africans marched on Tel Aviv over the past few days to protest this action. Christian Science Monitor, January 6th. See, if you want to know what an Aryan race is, since the Nazis had it, that is an Aryan race people. They won't allow their people to marry outside of their race. But they will go to Hollywood in America and make it like blacks and whites and every other color together. But you'll never see a Jew with a black person or a Jew with a white person or a goyim. We're all goyims though. Black, white, yellow, green, orange. As long as you're not Jewish, you're a goyim. You're an animal to them. If you don't believe it, just look it up. Look up goyim. Video. San Francisco health officials refuse to consider Fukushima as a possible cause of 500% increase in radiation at the beach. They say it could be caused by red-painted disposable eating utensils. Really? There must have been millions of those pesky things to cover so large of a beach. But don't worry. As you can see from this video, they are all gone now. Wait a minute. Since when are red plastic eating utensils radioactive? Story leak, January 6th. Mike Rivero just said that he went to the store, looked around for red eating utensils, and took his Geiger counter in there and went across them and says, they're not radioactive. Just think about it. These people are just lying, and they're trying to hoodwink you into believing the lie. Unbelievable. Man, they think we're that dumb. They really do. The government and all of them think that we are stupefied. They think the fluoride has turned you into a zombie, basically, and you're zombified. I mean, I almost believe that some people are. I watch, Mark Dice going and doing his little petitions, and these people will sign anything. They won't even read the petition. All he has to do is talk in an NPR voice and talk to them that way and convince them, and they just sit there and sign their name, birth date, and and a signature, and just give that up to him, and he's doing these petitions, and he's showing that, yeah, there are people out there, at least in San Diego, that are just dumb. They're not paying attention. They're zombified. The fluoride in the water is working very well there. I mean, just look at a carton of toothpaste, say Crest toothpaste. Just look at the carton. It's not on the toothpaste tube itself. It's on the box. And it says on that box, if you eat a pea size of this and swallow it, call poison control immediately. That should tell you not to use that stuff. I would get something called Xylee White or something at the health food store. It has no fluoride. It has no sodium sulfide in it. It has none of that toxic poisons in it. It's just got peppermint and baking soda and maybe a little bit of silicon in it, or silica I should say. It's like a real finely ground sand, very finely ground, like a powdered sand. And you brush your teeth with that, and it will keep your teeth white, clean, and you don't get toxified by the poisons that are in normal toothpaste that they push on the market, Crest and Gleam and all these other, market toothpastes. Just don't eat the poison. That's all I'm saying. Next, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, which was used by Bernie Madoff with the cash, who committed a $17 billion fraud against his clients, will pay $2 billion in fines to avoid public investigation. AFP, January 6th. Pocket change, $2 billion. Pocket change to the J.P. Morgan and Chase Bank. That's pocket change. They just pulled out of their pocket. Oh, man, you're going to take my pocket change? Hell, I have to go back and get more money to put in my pocket. Oh God, it's just it's ridiculous. They shouldn't get $2 billion fines. They should be put in jail. They should be put somewhere and punished that way, so they don't do it ever again. If they spend a year in jail, even they probably won't do it again. I'm telling you, these people, the CEOs and everything, need to be gathered up, tried, and put in jail because they will be put in jail for fraud against the American people, and it's just I mean, it's just unreal. They just pull. It's like the pharmaceutical companies. They do the same thing. They get a suit against them for a product that they put out there because the FDA just pencil whipped it through because they're paid off to do that. They'll just pay off the fine or pay a person a couple $1 million. That's nothing. That's pocket change to them, to a pharmaceutical company. They're making billions. Well, what's a couple of million when they're making billions? And it doesn't matter if they have 40 people making $2 million. It doesn't matter to them. That's still pocket change. I mean, think about it. It takes $100 million of us to make $1 billion. So they have a lot of money they can throw out there and pay off people for injuries. And then they keep selling their poisonous product, human rat poison, in pill form. God, people, you don't know this. You're not paying attention. I keep telling people that they're not paying attention. There's documentaries out there on top of documentaries where doctors come up and say, "Yeah, they wine and dine us and tell us here, you want to push these medications on people," and they're the same ones they show on TV where at the end of the commercial they go through real fast. It will give you a heart attack, a stroke, death, I mean, liver failure, kidney failure, and they go through that stuff, and you're sitting there going, "Yeah, that's why I want to go to my doctor tomorrow and get that drug." Think about it, man. It's crazy. Video: U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. Remember Ron Johnson? Yeah, is suing the administration over the unfair and illegal application of Obamacare. Contrary to the law, members of Congress who earn $175,000 per year are receiving the same subsidy given to those earning less than $45,000 per year. Fox News, January 6th. See, they're taking advantage of their position and power. They get better care, better everything, but yet we got to pay more. Don't you know? Video: U.S. Senator Rand Paul is preparing a class action lawsuit against the NSA for unconstitutional spying on Americans. I wonder how much everyone will get from that. God, if he can get several $billion out of that, maybe if he can get $1 trillion out of that, God, we'd have thousands of dollars coming in the mail to us. Every American. Wow. He says that anyone who owns a cell phone is eligible to participate, and over 250,000 people already have signed up to be included. Russia Today, or RT, January 6th. I think I'm going to sign up. I got a cell phone. I got one of those, pay as you go, but hey, they're monitoring that just the same. I'll join up in this class action lawsuit and get a few $1,000s in the mail. Hell, everyone should do that. That way we can put them out of business because they're not doing anything anyways. There hadn't been, the TSA has been worthless. They haven't caught a single terrorist since they started the TSA with their x-ray machines and the gropers. They haven't caught anybody. The FBI, trying to save their face because Department of Homeland Security took their job away, have been going out and finding, weak-minded people, submental people to give them bombs and stuff that are fake and then bust them and say, "Look, we're doing a job. Keep giving us money to our FBI." And, it's, I mean, they keep doing that stuff and it keeps happening. And it's like the FBI is really hurting. They're hurting for funding because they're not getting any more because the Department of Fatherland Security has taken over. And the FBI from the old Hoover administration is getting ready to go bye-bye. And they don't want to go bye-bye. But I guess they're going to have to because DHS is taking over. Next, California joins Arizona in introducing a bill to thwart NSA unconstitutional spying on Americans. Again, there's more states jumping in here. I mean, I just read an article on Freedom Front, that came out that said that Ohio's now in their constitution says Obamacare is unconstitutional and is illegal in Ohio. So if you live in Ohio, you don't have to worry about abomination care because it's illegal in the constitution of the state constitution. It's great. Okay, this is what Arizona are introducing a bill with California. It says, one, the bill would prohibit state and local agencies from giving material support to the NSA, including water and electricity. See, they need that up there in Utah. If they cut the water off, those supercomputers go critical and burn out. Yep. And electricity, well, that's just automatic. They go off. Two, evidence obtained unconstitutionally by the NSA would be inadmissible in state courts. Three, public universities would be blocked from doing contract work for the NSA, and four, sanctions would be applied to corporations that try to fulfill NSA needs. In other words, any corporation that gets involved with the NSA on spying can be sanctioned and lose money. Now comes the debate. Off now, January 6th. That's from that there. You can, like I said, you get to read all this. I'll have it listed in the show more. Video. Edward Snowden says that the NSA is building a supercomputer powerful enough to decode any encrypted data, including that of foreign governments. Press TV, January 5th. Well, that will give Mike Rivero something to watch, because he's already sent stuff to the NSA saying, here's an encrypted code I made up. See you break it. And he never got a response back from him. They can't break his codes. Why? Because the codes they're breaking are in shelfware. The stuff you buy off the shelf, it says it will protect your privacy and everything, has back doors for the NSA in it. And so that's how they're getting into your system and everything, because you're using off-the-shelf products of software, and they're using that to get into your computer through back doors. And he's made up this stuff, and he says, it's not very hard to make an encryption, but he has this encryption, and the NSA hasn't returned any saying, yes, we broke it. And he's also had university people who are into IT who are trying to break his encryption, and they can't break it. So, if you make your own encryption up, you're secure from the NSA if you have your own encryption system. Anyways, next, Obama has proposed issuing executive orders to expand gun control without congressional participation. He wants to use Obamacare records to identify anyone who has been confined to a mental institution and prevent them from owning a gun. So if someone with a political influence wants to disarm you, all they have to do is claim that you have a mental problem and have you committed for examination. Clever, very clever. That is very clever. That's corrupt, but clever. Because they're actually setting you up to take your gun away. It's not like you're actually mental. They're setting you up to be mental, and then once you go through the evaluation, even if you're found mentally sane, you went through that evaluation. Now you're not allowed to have guns. Do you understand what's going on here? It's kind of like the NSA and with all this information that people out there keep saying, well, I have nothing to hide. Well, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to hide. They have a supercomputer that can put you anywhere they want and put you at a crime scene, and you're guilty. It's your word against theirs. Man, come on. You're not thinking. You're not thinking. You got to start thinking. Video, Ohio. An armed 90-year-old man in a laundromat turned the tables against an armed robber. Fox, January 4th. And this is a repeating story I hear over and over again, where somebody was carrying heat, and a robber comes up thinking that you're a sheeple, have no, because the law says you can't carry an arm on you unless it's visible or something. And, there's a lot of concealed carry out there. And, the criminals is taking a gambit when he attacks anyone nowadays. But they think that 90% of you don't have heat. So they're just going to rob you at knife point or whatever. And, see, that's what's happening. You're not paying attention again. Oh man, I mean, I may be preaching to the choir out there as far as I know, but anyone new that's hearing this, wake up. Come on. The European Commission is preparing to make it illegal to grow any vegetable, seed, or tree that has not been tested and approved by the government. Corporations will have no problem getting approval for the most dangerous genetically modified plants, but don't expect approval for heirloom seeds or plants from nature. Even if they are approved, people will have to pay a license fee to grow them. It's another take from your pocket and put it in theirs just to grow food so you don't have to buy from the company GMO store. Man, all of this is being done in the name of food safety. You're growing your own food in your own yard, and they're saying that because of food safety, you can't do that. You might grow whatever. I don't think I go out in my garden and poop on it like they do in Mexico and stuff, because they have no, porta potties out in Mexico where they go out all day long and they're harvesting whatever onions and whatever. They just drop their pants out there in the middle of what they're doing and take a dump. So you wonder why, this stuff pops up like, any of the stomach elements that you get from contaminated food. A bacterial contamination. I mean, they're not paying attention. Healthy debates posted January 4th. I mean, just think about that. And you're getting this food from these other countries, and you have no idea what their standards of safety is. They don't have the same standards of safety that we have in the U.S. I mean, in the U.S., they got porta potties or something out in the fields. They just don't drop their pants and whatever on the ground where they're working. This is what's wrong. I mean, you're not seeing that the company store is wrong. When you have 4 or 5 corporations controlling everything, you're under control of these corporations, and that's what they want. They want you just buying from them. Kind of like Wally World, when they come into a town that had mom and pop stores and everything, and they drop their prices down real low. So you go to them first, and then the mom and pops can't do that, and they go out of business. And then suddenly you have a monopoly there called Wally World or Walmart. Anyways, next video. General Mills, the manufacturer of Cheerios, announced that it will no longer use GMO products in its breakfast cereal. As far as they're saying, consumer awareness is paying off. CBS posted January 4th. Here's an extreme picnicking, truly amazing. Mountain climbers went and hung themselves off a cliff, a picnic table. You could see they got beverage on there. And they're sitting there and hanging on over a cliff. Looks like about 1,000 feet above the ground. Maybe only 500, but it looks scary to me if anything goes wrong. Man, that's amazing. And you can see the rope they came down on right there. And that's kind of cool, though. I used to climb mountains all the time. I didn't use rope or anything. I was a free climber. I used to do spelunking, too. But I don't have any caves nearby to go in and play, so I don't do that now. Analysis for this week, reports and commentaries that look beyond the news to identify historical facts and trends that help to place the news into perspective. This is a think tank videos and stories. Video. A Rolling Stone article written by an Occupy supporter promotes the cliches of socialism and communism. The cliches, I'm not pronouncing that right, am I? Are analyzed by Ben Sharpio, who explains that capitalism is on the high moral ground because it motivates people to provide the goods and services that others want, whereas collectivism motivates selfishness in the form of entitlements without productivity. Welfare and all the rest that Obama seems to love. He's extending the unemployment rate because there's no jobs and he has to, or people are going to riot. I mean, that's automatically because they send all the jobs over to China. I think we should just tax the corporations that move to China, 50% on everything, and then we won't buy it. And then we say, well, we only will charge, 5% tax if you come back here. I mean, you watch those guys. They'll pull up roots like going out of style to move back here and start up corporations and factories back in the U.S. All the government has to do is get out of this free trade and go back to fair trade. We need fair trade. There is no fair trade. It's free trade, meaning they go over there and they get to produce all this stuff and make 100% profit as they send it back over here without having to pay anything. That's just wrong. That is really, really wrong. We need to put an incentive on them to come back to the States. And the only way to do that is either not tax them for 10 years or tax them very little to get them to come back here and bring back the factories and work and everything back here so everybody can get a decent paying job again. This minimum wage job flipping hamburgers is, it's a servicing job is what they call it. It's doing services instead of doing factory work and actually making a product. And, Obama redefined a product as flipping hamburgers. That's not a product. That's food. And they redefined flipping hamburgers as a product. I just went, no, you're not doing that. Really? Cal would be happy with that. He would really be going off, really? Out for South Park. Anyways, video. This house fire was caused, believed it or not, by a 9-volt battery. That's right, a 9-volt battery set a whole house on fire. After you see how it happened, you'll realize that it could happen to anyone who discards 9-volt batteries. Learn the simple precaution to prevent this hazard. Kids in Character, posted January 7. Yes, you can. You gotta watch out when you dispose of your old computer batteries that are lithium batteries. Those things hold a charge for a long time. And if they short out, they will catch fire. I mean, it's a common sense thing. You gotta watch how you dispose of batteries and stuff. Here, make sure to totally discharge or take them somewhere where you can turn them in and put some type of cap on them. I know some batteries used to come with a protector cap that you've snapped over the 9-volt battery or whatever, to keep them from shorting out against a piece of metal or something, or tin foil in your garbage. Right? Really. Video. Gerald Celente says that violence in Iraq will continue to increase because the territory is totally destabilized following the U.S. invasion. Oh yeah, they just destroyed that entire region and everything. It used to be like America, basically. I mean, women went to college, men went to college there, they got good education, everything was like America. And then our government goes in there because of oil. That was the main reason to go in there. And they took out Saddam Hussein, who set up this government. He was an ex-U.S. dictator, put in there by our U.S. government, CIA. He was put in there. He was brought up and put in there to be a dictator. He got older, just like Gaddafi did, and he decided, I don't want to be this anymore. I want to be for the people, with the people. I want to help everyone. He's getting old, and he wants to do the right thing. Well, he starts doing the right thing and then says, I want to go to the dinar or whatever to trade in oil. And Gaddafi was the gold coins that he wanted to come out with to trade in oil. And guess what? They got attacked. They got attacked because they weren't going along with the banksters, the World Bank. And that's why they were attacked. The destabilization model also is being followed in the Middle Eastern countries such as Syria. Clemente says there is no end in sight. In our view, that's because chaos is the goal, not the side effect. RT, January 7th. And that's exactly, Clemente's exactly on target, and he's right. It's to keep them destabilized so they can keep a constant state of war going on, or terror, or whatever the motive is for the problem, reaction, solution. And that's what we set up over there as our government. I'm not anti-government. I'm just anti-corruption in government. And we got a whopper of a corrupted government. Star, another collector video. New study shows that the rate of gun-related murders is higher in states where there are restrictions against carrying a concealed weapon. The study also showed that there was a higher murder rate when there was a federal ban on assault weapons. Fox, January 6th. And it's true. Chicago, New York, LA. There you go. That's all the proof you need. Just look at the statistics and you'll see that they have the highest crime rate in the whole country. Washington District of Criminals. Hell, they got the highest crime rate. I think they're starting to let people carry concealed in Washington District Criminal. So their rate's going down. I guess they're doing it for that reason, to make it look like, well, Washington, D.C. shouldn't be the highest crime rate in the country. The 60-mile square area. Yeah. Okay, another video to keep for future reference. U.S. official documents show that the FBI has shifted its function from law enforcement to national security. That's it. The focus now is not to protect citizens from criminals, but to protect the nation, meaning the government. Remember that. To protect the government. They don't give a damn about you. From enemies. Yeah, from enemies, meaning the people. Remember, after 9/11, with the Patriot Act and the NDAA, 330 million people became terrorists to them. And we are the terrorists to them because they're afraid of us. That's a good thing that the government's afraid of us, but they're not afraid enough to do the right thing. They're afraid enough to do what they're doing, which is the wrong thing to us. That's what they're up to. The difference is profound. This article includes a video report by Judge Napolitano showing how FBI agents have pretended to throw off terrorists, I told you this earlier, terrorist attacks that they themselves orchestrated. And I'm telling you, it's because the DHS has took their work away from them. They do this to spread the fear of terrorism and make it appear that the government is diligently protecting the nation. Well, I don't know. I have a feeling that DHS has took their job away and they're doing this out of, we're going to be unfunded here and not going to exist anymore. It's just going to be Department of Homeland, Fatherland Security. It would be in Nazi Germany, and that's what it's heading towards. InfoWars, January 4th. And if you don't believe that, then you're just not paying attention again. Here you go. Here's something like fantasy house, but real. It's a real house. Sit right off the beach there on this island. Someone built a house on a rock right off of there, which is cool. I think I would like to live there. I'd like to be off the grid, live there, and have solar power or whatever to run everything. And that'd just be great. That's just awesome. Man, I'm about ready to click that and enlarge it, but it'd be larger than my box I got opened up. Humor for this week. I'm not paranoid, deranged millionaire. I'm a billionaire. Howard Hughes. After the game, the king and the pawn go into the same box. Italian proverb about chest. The king and the pawn goes in the same box. Oh, Zaza Gabor. I've been married to a communist and a fascist, and neither would take out the neither would take out the garbage. Oh God, this is too funny. I gotta keep going here. I gotta go down and show the rest of this. Here's this one here. They said I could be anything, so I became Donald Trump. I'm going to leave it on there for a second and just admire that. Donald Trump and his toupee. Woo. Okay, then you got the unfiltered form. Is it possible not to have a state? Reply from Greg. And that's it for this week. Then you got the Reality Zone Classifieds. And you got all the books on the side. Don't forget the books on the side. The Federal Reserve. This is the continuation of the Jekyll Island book, Creature from Jekyll Island. Natural Cures, over-the-counter natural cures, so you don't have to take the pharmaceutical poisons that have all the side effects. Global warming and global feudalism, and that's what the really Agenda 21 is really all about. It's taking your property away, and you live on the king's property suddenly, and it's not your property you're living on, and you must work for the king to live there. That's feudalism. Cancer, forbidden cures. That's an excellent video. If you get a chance to see that, either on YouTube or somewhere, check it out. The Creature from Jekyll Island, the original book. The second Dallas. Dead Wrong. How psychiatric drugs can kill your child. You should read that. Don't let your child on SSRIs or you end up doing a Sandy Hook. Laetrile, case histories. Your kid will end up doing a Sandy Hook on you. World Without Cancer. There's another great book on curing cancer. I'm telling you. The Noble Lie. The Truth About Oklahoma City in 1995. Not what you were told. State of Mind. Psychology of Control. Another good video. Let's see. Molon Labi. How the Second Amendment Guarantees America's Freedom. That's an excellent video also. And then that's it, except for this one, American Empire. Another excellent video. All put out and produced with Edgar Griffin. And it's all excellent. Oh well, I guess that's it then. Let's see what my time is on here. 51 minutes. Okay, I'm going to round this out at 52. What I'm going to say right now is I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. It's now Saturday at 8:36 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you have the rest of the weekend is great. Hope you have a wonderful night and a wonderful tomorrow. I thank you all for watching Spellbinder's report on the Unfiltered newsletter from the Reality Zone. Hope you check out G. Edward Griffin's material. And, well, just be good or be good at it. And have a wonderful day.